Uno momento while we go live, everybody. Please wait.
Uno momento, por favor. That's right.
Did you
I've
hear
been
all
to
that?
Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica. I can speak Spanish.
Do you like Costa Rica?
It's one of my favorite places.
It's pretty cool. On a scale of 1 to awesome, I think it's wicked awesome.
It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome. All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 41 of the Almost Daily Show with your host, Chandler.
And the Dave Picardi.
So you guys aren't going to believe the struggles we had with fixing some problems with our podcast today. We got so techy that we were paralyzed and couldn't do anything.
Well, and this just comes back to make sure that your content's real. It doesn't have to be staged and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly. And when things go wrong, you find solutions. So like last time, we had a horrifying sound output and you couldn't make out some of the words. So we grabbed some software that allows us to record the audio separately without using the internet. And that's what caused us to be paralyzed by fear today. But we figured it out, got through it, and look at where we are today.
That's right. We basically just took all our crap, threw it away, and jumped back on here to talk to you guys.
That's right. Steph even came in here. She was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Steph, we are so techy right now. We're paralyzed. We can't even function or move."
That's right. So the lesson here is if you want to get super techy, you better have a super tech department. If not, just have fun.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And you just have to realize you don't actually know if something's going to work until you do it. And when you go on lives and stuff like this, like we had no idea if this was going to work today, and it did. If it didn't, we would have just shut it off and troubleshoot and try to figure it out. But the moral of the story is things don't always go the way you want them to go.
That's right. So that brings up what this show is going to be about today.
Yeah, so because we had such a fun struggle fest trying to get this organized, we thought that today we would talk about one of the biggest things that's happening right now in terms of content, and that's audio. So what we're seeing is audio is on the rise. Everybody's listening to podcasts. Everybody's listening to basically audio-based format and audio-based content. And we're seeing almost like 85% of people are starting to use that. It started off with silent videos with captions, and now it's turning into audio stuff.
Well, I think it's easy. So, like Chandler, you're always saying how you read plenty of books, but you read them audio in the shower. So someday you'll have to explain to me how you get through a novel with one shower, because that's pretty impressive. But I think it's just the whole world it's so busy, and if you think about it, how could people even operate 20 years ago in business? It was so slow, and now everything's like so fast that we're doing so much more work in a workday than they would have been able to fathom 20 years ago. So people are so busy, and we think we're the most important things in the world, so everybody's going to want to hear us talk. How can you make it so that they can actually listen to your stuff in their busy world?
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at it, you're talking about like everybody's busy lives. And the fact of the matter is right now, people are doing so many things in the day that they need to be able to do 2 or 3 things at once. And you can't read while you're taking a shower. You can't read while you're driving. Well, you shouldn't. If you do,
you shouldn't.
Probably incredibly dangerous.
You actually prop the phone up while you're driving. It's possible.
It's actually really scary. It's really scary. People actually do read and like watch videos and stuff while they drive. People are doing anything but driving. But when I've
seen a hell of an accident, and the woman had her phone up and she was reading.
Yeah, they just smashed into someone. They had no idea was coming.
Cross lanes, it was pretty ugly.
Yeah, it's terrifying. But the big thing about it is people want to be able to do 2 or 3 things at once, and if they can listen while they're doing all their other things, they're going to be more than likely to consume your content versus if they have to sit there and do one thing. And that's why, like you were saying, I can sit in the shower and listen to audiobooks. And otherwise, if I tried to read a book, it would take me 7 years to get through it because I just don't have time to sit there and read and have that be my fundamental thing I'm focused on for hours on end. It has to be something I can accomplish while I'm doing something else. And it could be an audiobook in the shower. It could be listening to podcasts while I drive or while Steph drives and all kinds of stuff like that.
Chandler doesn't drive.
Yeah, I never drive.
I did that for a couple months. It was actually really cool. I'd just go sit in the passenger seat and wait and then the wife drove me everywhere.
Isn't it
but she put an
incredible?
end to it. I had to start driving. So audio is so important now that Facebook just prioritized it.
Yeah, they released a new update like 6 months ago, maybe longer. They've been rolling it out slowly, but now they have live audio. So they not only have your live video, but they have the availability to use live audio right now. And you can use it while on your phone. You can use it on Android. And they're working on the idea to where you can close it and just listen to Facebook live audio while you're doing your other things. Because live audio wouldn't make sense if you had to sit there and like watch it, because you're not really watching anything. But this is what we're seeing, that Facebook understands where it's at and where it's going, and that they need to capitalize on it. So when Facebook takes advantage of something like that or tries to buy something that's doing it, that's when we know that that's something that's going to be big and something that we need to focus on and understand. And audio is something that if you're not doing anything with right now, you should be doing something like a podcast once a month or a podcast once a week, or get on SoundCloud and record something that's audio in it. And when you think about length, audio can be longer because people can do it while they commute to work, and people can do it when they're in the shower, and they can do these things. And so you can find that people's attention lasts like 15, 20, even 25 minutes when they have an audio-based content to consume.
And something I heard it actually talking to you today, we've been cutting lots of content, and it was the average commute in our country is 23 minutes. So I didn't know that. We know that now. And so someone that Chandler was working with had a rule that you had to cut audio at 23 minutes because that's the average length. And so it's just important to know stuff like that, or make sure that know your audience. I mean, if your audience can sit around and wants to listen for a couple hours, then that's fine. If your audience is going to be 10 minutes or less, right, just know that. Pay attention to not only producing the content, but the actual statistics behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And Pete just commented, or listen to you guys while I work on a website. Exactly. Doing things while we're doing other things. And if we can allow you to content while you're doing other things, chances are you're going to be more likely to consume. And that's the big piece. And starting things like a podcast or any sort of audio segment isn't that hard. So you can go on Facebook Live Audio now and do that. You can make a SoundCloud account, record your audio, and then have the feed go into iTunes and Google, and now you have a podcast. There's an app that I really like right now called Anchor, where you just record everything in like little 5-minute spurts, and then you create episodes, and it automatically publishes it as a podcast for you. So Anchor's a cool option. There's so many different ways, and it's really not that difficult to actually put together your audio pieces. The more difficult part is figuring out how to sync it with like LibSync or some of the other services, so you can see how many downloads you're getting and what your different data metrics are.
Right. And I think, start simple. I mean, it's really hard to get super techy, super fast. And I think everyone gets paralyzed quickly with that. So start simple and then add. And then eventually, I'm in the process right now of setting up a big studio for it. Set it up so that you can do it all at once and then multitask, right? That's something you can build into. Then that way, maybe you put out one good piece of content a day, but it hits every possible avenue for you, which would then multiply your efforts. Yeah,
that's huge. And you look at the Almost Daily Show. It's ultimately the biggest reach we have with this show is the podcast. It gets the most downloads, but we also use it on Facebook Live and YouTube Live and Periscope. And then we clip it and put pictures on Instagram for it. So we use one piece of content to basically distribute it to all kinds of other pieces of content. So if you say you wanted to start a podcast, but you didn't have time for anything else, you make your podcast that's 20 minutes. You put that on your podcast, you run it on Facebook Live or just as a Facebook video, put it on YouTube, clip it into little pieces and put it on Instagram. And now you've got one piece of content that's going to be able to be distributed across several different platforms in several different ways.
Absolutely. So obviously this one was about audio, but the number 2/number 1 is still video, right? So those are the two things you really want to be focusing on right now for your main content. And getting a handle on it and being consistent. So it could, like Chan said, once a month. I mean, if that's what you're doing, get good content once a month and make sure you use that content throughout the month. If you're able to do it weekly, do it weekly. If you're able to do it a few times a week, daily, multiple times a day, whatever you can actually do, just stay consistent with it, right? So you're going to build an audience that is looking for consistency. and they want to know that you're going to be on every Friday at 3:00, and then they can make themselves available.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. If you're going, whatever you do and whatever you put out, especially in a podcast where you're going to have people listening to essentially your episodes and wanting to consume it, you want to put it in a format to where they know it's coming and they know you're going to be consistent with it. Because if you're not, you're going to get a bunch of downloads and then they're going to drop off the face of the earth and forget about you if you don't do it again for 3 months.
That's right. All right, man, this was another good one, episode 41.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't doing a podcast or something like that, pick something. Maybe, I mean, if you only have time for one, record that podcast, put it into several different segments, get something started, execute, and be consistent. Episode 41. This is Chandler.
And the Dave Picardi.
And it's been fun. We will see you guys when we see you.
Maybe.
But we're not sure. It could be tomorrow.
Yeah, no. Could be.
Yeah, maybe it'll be tomorrow. We have a whole list of stuff we want to talk about. Maybe not.
That list keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
Or we could lose the list.
We could. Then we could just have to jump on and wing it. You just don't know.
I don't know if I could do that. I'm not a wing it type of a guy.
I think you're a great wing-iter guy. That's a word, wing-iter.
Wing-iter. I like that.
Yeah. That was real nice. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you when we see you.
Later.